Hey everyone, and welcome back to KenkoVibe. I'm Ethan Reed, and with me today is Grace Morgan.
Hi, everyone.
We're diving into a topic today that you might not expect to hear about on a show like this. The connection between stress anxiety and erectile dysfunction.
That's right.
You know, we often think of ED as being like an age thing, right?
Yeah,
It's just something that happens as you get older,
you're
but
right.
it turns out that stress and anxiety can play a really significant role,
Huge.
and it's affecting way more men than you might think.
That's right, Ethan. It's definitely not just an age-related issue. What's so fascinating to me is how stress and anxiety can actually interfere with the physical processes that make an erection happen.
Okay.
It's like they throw a wrench right into the machinery.
So let's break down this machinery, because I know we learned about different types of erections. There's reflexive, psychogenic,
Exactly.
and nocturnal.
Reflexive is all about physical stimulation. Psychogenic is triggered by what you see or think about. And nocturnal, you get those during sleep. But the interesting thing is, no matter which type we're talking about, your body needs several systems working together seamlessly. Your nervous system, muscles, hormones, and blood circulation.
So it's like a finely tuned orchestra, and stress comes in
Right.
and throws everybody off key.
That's a great analogy. Stress and anxiety disrupt the signals from your brain, making it harder to achieve or maintain an erection. And a big part of that is reduced blood flow to the penis,
Uh-huh.
preventing the tissues from expanding as needed.
Oh, that's where that traffic jam metaphor comes in. It all makes sense now. But what's really concerning is that this can turn into this vicious cycle, right?
Precisely.
Like having ED causes more stress,
Mm.
which then makes the ED worse.
It becomes this frustrating loop where the problem feeds itself. And when you consider that over 30 million American men over 20 experience ED annually.
Wow, 30 million. That number really highlights the scale of this. And when we add in the psychological factors like relationship troubles,
Yeah.
PTSD,
You're absolutely
and
right.
depression, which is basically chronic stress, it's no wonder that these things can lead to ED.
We even came across a study on war veterans dealing with PTSD and ED.
Right.
It really underscored how trauma, whether from combat or other life events, can have a deep impact on both mental and physical health.
Trauma is essentially unprocessed stress that gets lodged in the body. It's like a bomb that keeps exploding
Exactly.
long after the initial blast.
And what's encouraging is that this study showed promise in helping veterans regain erectile function through both medication and therapeutic approaches like meditation.
Wow.
So there's hope for breaking the cycle.
That's good to hear. But it's not just the mental and emotional side of things. We also learned about physical health conditions.
You've hit the nail on the head.
That can make ED worse, essentially,
Yeah.
by adding to the stress load the body is carrying.
Conditions that increase stress and anxiety even indirectly can contribute to ED. One example is cardiovascular disease. There is a strong link between ED and heart health because they're both affected by things like high blood pressure, cholesterol, and overall circulatory health.
It's almost like having one health problem sets the stage for another. And we also learned about conditions like obesity, high cholesterol, nerve damage from things like Parkinson's or multiple sclerosis. These can all create stress and contribute to ED.
And let's not forget about lifestyle factors.
Oh, yeah.
Things like poor sleep, lack of exercise, even living with lots of pollution, all of these ramp up stress levels and can make ED more likely.
It's amazing how much our everyday choices play a role. Smoking, drinking too much, a sedentary lifestyle.
It does.
It all adds up.
And while it might seem overwhelming to think about all these interconnected factors, the good news is that we're not powerless. There are definitely things we can do to break this cycle.
That's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in the problem, but knowing that there are solutions gives us a place to start. And that leads us to the next part of our deep dive, exploring those solutions which go way beyond just medication.
Absolutely. And what's great is that some of these solutions are things you can begin incorporating into your life right now. Simple changes can make a big difference.
So let's talk about those solutions. One that stood out to me was meditation. We read that just 30 minutes a day.
It's truly remarkable what consistent meditation can do both for your mental state and your physical health. There are even specific meditation techniques designed to help with ED.
So it's not just about zoning out for a while. It's like targeted training.
That's a great way to put it, for your mind and body. And then there's counseling, which can help you face the root causes of your stress head on.
I think a lot of people are hesitant to try counseling. But honestly, facing your demons seems much more effective in the long run.
Absolutely. Than letting them control you from the shadows. It's about empowerment.
Right.
And there's also psychodynamic therapy.
Whoa. That sounds intense, like spelunking into the deepest caves of your mind.
Yeah.
I can see how uncovering those deeply rooted anxieties.
Exactly. Could be a major key to breaking free from the stress cycle. And while we're talking about options acupuncture, yoga and even sex therapy all have unique benefits and can be part of a holistic approach to managing stress and ED.
It's fantastic that there's so much variety out there. It means that people can find.
Exactly. What really resonates with them, whether it's a mind-body practice talking to a therapist or a combination of approaches.
Right. And speaking of finding what works, let's shift gears a bit and explore the world of herbal remedies for ED and stress.
This is where things get really interesting. The idea of harnessing the power of nature for healing is fascinating.
What's particularly intriguing about the herbal approach is the focus on treating both the mind and the symptoms it creates for lasting results. It's not about masking the problem, but addressing the root cause.
That's such a perfect analogy, Ethan, and there are some specific herbs that stand out for their powerful effects. For example, we came across Panax ginseng, known for improving blood circulation and calming those frazzled nerves.
So it tackles both sides of the equation, the physical need for better blood flow.
Exactly. And the mental emotional need for calm. Then there's ginkgo, that ancient root that's been used for centuries. And for good reason. Studies show it effectively reduces stress and boosts sexual function. Talk about a dynamic duo.
It's amazing how nature provides these solutions that have stood the test of time. And we also learned about black maca, a popular ingredient in sexual performance enhancers, used to treat not just ED, but also premature ejaculation and even pain during erections.
It's quite versatile. And finally, there's asparagus racemosus, a jack-of-all-trades herb used for a wide range of conditions, including stress and anxiety.
It sounds like these herbs offer a lot of promise, but I imagine it's crucial to talk to a healthcare professional.
You're absolutely right, before trying anything new, especially if you're already on medication.
Right. You don't want to create any unintended side effects.
It's always best to consult with a medical professional to ensure these herbs are safe and appropriate for your individual needs. They can guide you on dosage and potential interactions with other medications.
Good reminder. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive into the connection between stress, anxiety, and ED, I think it's important to remember that while stress is a part of life,
That's so important. It doesn't have to control us. Stress is unavoidable, but it is manageable. Remember, you are your own best advocate when it comes to managing stress. Listen to your body, pay attention to what your mind is telling you, and don't hesitate to seek support when you need it.
it's like that saying, life is 10% what happens to you and 90% how you react to it.
Exactly.
We have a lot more control than we often realize.
And keep in mind that statistic we discussed earlier. 20% of ED cases are caused by stress and anxiety alone. That's a huge chunk, so taking care of your mental health can have a profound impact on your overall well-being, including your sexual health.
It really underscores that mind-body connection.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, a healthy mind is essential for a healthy body and successful treatment. It's not just about treating the symptoms, it's about nurturing your overall well-being. It really is a holistic thing, isn't it?
It is. It all comes back to that holistic view. You can't just treat one part of yourself in isolation. It's all connected.
Precisely. And that brings us to a really important point. We've explored these incredible tools for managing stress and, by extension, ED, but it's crucial to remember that you are the captain of your own ship.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So it's not just about passively following advice. It's about taking ownership.
You got it. And figuring out what works best for you. There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
What works wonders for one person might not be the right fit for another. It's about experimenting and listening to your body and finding the strategies that resonate with you on a personal level.
That makes so much sense. It's about empowering yourself to make informed choices about your health and well-being. And it sounds like there's a whole arsenal of tools at our disposal. We talked about meditation counseling, even delving into the subconscious with psychodynamic therapy.
Right. And let's not forget those ancient practices like acupuncture and yoga. They've been around for centuries for a reason. They can help release tension, calm the mind, and improve overall energy flow.
It's fascinating how these traditional methods are gaining more recognition in modern medicine. It's like we're rediscovering the wisdom of our ancestors.
I think there's a growing appreciation for holistic approaches that address the mind, body, and spirit.
And speaking of holistic approaches,
Yes. We can't forget about the power of nature, the herbal route. This is where I get really intrigued. It feels almost magical to think that plants can have such profound effects.
it is pretty amazing on our bodies and minds. And what's so cool about the herbal approach is that it often focuses on treating the underlying imbalances that contribute to both stress and ED. So it's not just about masking the symptoms. It's about getting to the root of the problem.
Exactly. And supporting the body's natural healing processes. And, some herbs have really earned their reputation for being beneficial in this area. We already talked about Panax ginseng, which is a superstar for improving blood circulation and calming the nerves.
I love that. It's like a two-for-one deal. And then there's ginkgo, which seems like it's been around forever.
Mm.
I remember my grandmother used to take it from memory, but it turns out it's also clinically proven to reduce stress and even boost sexual function.
It's amazing how nature provides these multifaceted solutions, right? And speaking of multi-talented herbs, there's black maca. You might have heard of it as a popular ingredient in sexual performance enhancers, but it's actually used to treat a range of issues from ED and premature ejaculation.
Wow, that's impressive. To even pain during erections.
It sounds like a real all-rounder. And we also learned about asparagus racemosus, which seems to be a bit of a jack of all trades in the herbal world.
It is. It's used for a wide variety of conditions, including stress and anxiety. People have been turning to it for centuries to find relief and promote a sense of calm.
It really is inspiring to see how many options there are for addressing stress and ED. From ancient practices to modern therapies and natural remedies, it feels like there's hope for anyone struggling with these issues.
I absolutely agree. And I think one of the most important takeaways from all of this is that you don't have to suffer in silence. There's no shame in seeking help, whether it's from a therapist, a doctor, or even just a supportive friend or family member.
That's so important. We need to break the stigma surrounding these topics and encourage open, honest conversations about mental health and sexual well-being.
Absolutely. And remember, you are not alone in this journey. Millions of men are facing similar challenges, and there are resources available to support you every step of the way.
Well said. It's all about taking that first step, reaching out, seeking information, and finding the path that resonates with you. And remember, taking care of your mental and emotional well-being is an investment in your overall health and happiness. It's not selfish. It's essential.
Well said. Now, before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
You are in control of your own health.
That's a great one.
Thank you for joining us on this KenkoVibe deep dive into the connection between stress, anxiety, and erectile dysfunction. I'm Ethan Reed.
And I'm Grace Morgan.
We hope you found this episode insightful and empowering. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share the KenkoVibe podcast with anyone who might find it helpful. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into a topic that matters.